All right, hey team, here we go. Making a quick dinner, making a quick soup to go with dinner, actually. So I just got a few ingredients here. I'm already preheating my pot. I'm just gonna rock everything out, and y'all can just watch along with me. Cook along with me if you want. Maybe keep up with me if you want. I'll have the ingredients in the comments. They're pretty straightforward. There we go. I'm gonna make sure we have my little composty bin there. Cool. If you like, team, always know that you can save stuff like this, not the papery bits of your onion, not like that stuff, but you can save that stuff, the outside flesh, and so on and so forth, and your little ends if you trim off the yucky stuff. You can use that for stocks and so on and so forth. So throw that into a Ziploc, keep that in the freezer. Anyway, so rocking and rolling as we cook along. I'm just preparing a quick butternut squash soup. Butternut and sweet potato, I should say, if I'm being totally honest with, with you and myself. Anyways, bam, bam, bam. One of the beauties of soups is that you don't really need to worry too much about your cuts. You can really, whatever you manage is what you get. Yeah, these are again really great for stocks. Throw those in the freezer. You can make a quick vegetable stock, and that way you don't have to buy stuff like chicken broth and so on and so forth. So, anyways, yeah, that's always good. But honestly, I'm not making stock right now, so away she goes. Boom, boom. Oh, looks like we got a bad onion. I'm gonna deal with that later. I'll grab a fresh one. So there we go. In we go. Really irregular cuts on that one, but that's okay. Again, we're just making soup. Now I've just thrown those in, they're starting to dry cook. I want to add, I don't even need a spoon, it's too warm. There we go, in goes the coconut oil. You can hear the pot starting to really go. Bam, magic weapon. I like bamboo utensils. It's a matter of preference. You use what you use. I use what I use. But I like bamboo utensils. They're nice. They're natural. Just don't leave them soaking. It's possibly the only benefit of your plastic utensils is that you can leave them soaking. Yeah, I don't know if you guys know how to cut garlic. I cut the top off, cut the tip off, the root end, I guess. Squishy squish. Paper goes. Squishy squish. Squishy squish. There we go. I put garlic in damn near everything. So that's user preference. Use as much or as little as you would like. It's going to be a relatively sweet soup though, so I would say that you probably don't want to add, I say sweet, but I don't really mean sweet. Sweeter soup, not a garlicky type soup. So I wouldn't go too crazy. The one flaw with garlic is all the paper that sticks to you. Did you guys hear the cat? He's hungry too. Bam. Onions going, garlic going. Dump that off. Carrots. Already washed these off. Nice, relatively even-ish sticks. Again, rough cuts. If you don't know, now you know. Traditional mirepoix, as they call it, mirepoix, is carrots, celery, and onion. That's the base for a lot of sauces and all kinds of other fun things in traditional cooking. Celery, carrots, and onions. 2 parts onion to 1 part celery, 1 part carrot. Ooh, almost lost a clove there. So you start a lot of sauces, a lot of soups with that ratio, that proportion of celery to carrot to onion. And it's a good base to get you going to add a whole bunch of other flavor. Yeah, traditional mirepoix, a great way to start for so many recipes. So, celery, carrot, onion, garlic in there. I'm going to turn the heat up as I add more things. The pan cools down, bring the heat up. Well, I'm not going to move on to this yet. Sweet potato. Super quick, super easy. Pack it up as best you can. You don't need to make it super small, but this, again, the smaller you cut everything, the quicker it cooks. So know that if you want to expedite the cooking process, go ahead, cut smaller. In goes my sweet potato, and then here we go. Glorious butternut squash. I like to cut off one end, and then I like to flatten off the other end. So we have end clear, flat end. Cut it in half, hopefully just on the north side of the hollow part. And then if you have a nice sharp knife, trim down the sides, cutting off the skin and the kind of a bit of the pulpy part, so to speak. I say pulpy, it's not really pulp. It is just kind of the interior flesh, the initial flesh. I cut off just a little bit of that to stay away from the skin, but you can add as much of that as you'd like. A vegetable peeler, a straight-bladed, a very sharp straight-bladed vegetable peeler is great for this, because a straight-bladed veggie peeler will just tear through this. I personally like the stick peelers, and you can just, works great. Other side, cut it in half. On the inside you have the hollow part. Take a spoon, maybe I should show you. Take a spoon and just dig her out. Away she goes. That's all it is. Boom. Spinning it around. Scrape out all that goodness. Just like that. Boom, boom. So with a vegetable peeler, just like this, I don't prefer to use it unless I'm doing very large quantities. I find that the veggie peeler tends to cause a lot of flaking that goes everywhere. So use at your own peril, because you end up getting a lot of butternut stuff everywhere. But you know, works well enough, especially if it's sharp. My veggie peeler's seen better days. Okay, much like everything else, rough chop. Boom, boom, boom. Get it all over, that's okay. The butternut squash, once we bring it to a simmer, it doesn't take that long to cook, really, depending on how big you cut it. Oh, got the inside part there. Safe. Keep the fingers safe at all times. Tuck them in. First batch of butternut in. Second butternut. One. As everything starts rocking and rolling, now is a great time to go ahead and season. I'm adding my black pepper. More salt than you probably think you should. because you're so used to eating seasoned foods. I find that you always end up adding more than you think. Now that said, yes, you don't want to add too much salt. You can always add more later, but make sure you do a good dose at the start. The butternut and everything like here, you do need to add that salt to add that pop. And then of course, an even bigger pop comes with our cinnamon. Huge dose of cinnamon. Once we're all messy in there, covered in our cinnamon and stuff like that, organic chicken broth, crack that bad boy open, crank the heat, max volume. Most of that goes in there. And then last but not least, I have some coconut milk that I'm going to finish with later. I'm going to use this to adjust the consistency, keep this around, also to adjust the consistency of my soup so that it has that right texture. It's not too thick, not too thin. But I'm going to bring this to a boil. Just leave your soup at a boil, a simmer I should say, until your butternut squash and potatoes is soft, and then immersion blender. We'll see that in a moment. Okay, team. Super quick chef tip. One of the things that I'm not going to mention, if you're watching the video, you're going to catch this tip. Otherwise, you're not going to get it. I got a fresh cut apple. I'm just going to throw this in right before pureeing everything. You can do multiple if you want to really sweeten things up, but this apple is a really great addition to the soup. Surprise, surprise. Maybe tell your friends. Maybe your training partner. No, tell your training partners. Question which friends you tell. And then we puree. I'm using my stick blender. You use what you got, what you can use. Alright team, so key tip, before you put your pureed soup back on the heat, make sure that you turn the heat down on the burner. If you put your pureed soup right back on the heat, right after it's gone from chunky to liquid, it's going to start bubbling and spitting like a lava pit, and it's going to really suck, and you'll get it all over yourself, so don't do that, so be very careful. So there we go. Last but not least, team, I got the last of my coconut milk here, so I'm going to throw that in. I filled half of this container of chicken broth with water. Use that to thin out my soup just a little bit, and just a bit of water. Make sure I get the last of that coconut milk. We can go bring that right back to a simmer. You only need to simmer it for say a minute or so, and you're pretty much golden. At that point, all it comes down to is taste test it, make sure it tastes just the way you want it, and then make sure that it tastes right for the people who are going to be eating it with you. And that's it. That's the end of the story, team. Super quick and easy. Start with your mirepoix, which is the carrots, celery, and onion. Add any additional flavoring, seasoning, and stuff like that. Throw your veggie in there. In our case, it was our sweet potato, our butternut squash, and our seasonings and stuff, and then bam. Season to taste at the end, add your little bit of extra salt, a little bit of extra pepper, maybe thin it out if you want to get your consistency right. But beyond that, it's super easy, super quick, doesn't take very long, and you make a big batch that can last you a really long time. You can even freeze it. So beyond that, if you have any questions, concerns, feedback, or asks, you know, what else can I do like this? You guys know where to find me. Chef Zach on Facebook, Chef Zach Food and Fitness on YouTube, and of course, Chef Zach _ Food and Fitness at Instagram. Beyond that, team, please make sure to share this with your training partners. Like, share, and subscribe. Eat well, have fun, and have a great time.